What's up, guys? I'm Sarah.
And I'm Haley.
And we're
the Device Girls. Our mission for our podcast is to inspire and empower,
educate, and learn all about the medical and healthcare industry as a whole.
So tune in, and we hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, welcome back. My name is Haley, and this is
Sarah.
And we are the Device Girls, like we talked about on our first episode. Thank you so much for coming back and listening to another episode of ours. I hope that you guys enjoyed the first episode and getting to know us a little bit better. So, Sarah, what do we want to talk about today?
I think we should deep dive into our journey at MSc, kind of what that program looked like for us, and then post MSc, just kind of give a little bit of insight into for anybody looking to get into this industry, if that's possibly a route you may want to take, that we can kind of maybe explain what that looks like a little bit more in depth. Always sit front row. Jump in. Rick Prentice.
Yeah.
My man.
That's true. I love Rick. I really miss him.
He's awesome.
Stories, everything. Awesome. So if you ever go to MSc, I hope that you get Rick as one of your teachers, professors, whatever. Yeah. He's awesome. Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll start with MSc. So let's just kind of like run through what, I guess day to day,
and
week
for
to week
starters,
looks like.
There's multiple locations. So MSc is nationwide. If you're interested in it, look at a place that's close to you. I know there's a couple, North Carolina, Florida, or maybe Florida, I don't know. But we went to Dallas.
There's some, I think there's one in like Colorado, one in Seattle.
And then there's some online curriculums as well. So that's always an option where you pretty much stay at home and do all your work. There's different programs.
Yeah.
And then you go in the last week, I think.
And then there's also like different specialties within like, I don't know. There are different programs, but like you can still do the like in person like we did, but there's different specialties. So like we did
sports meds.
Yeah, there's like sports medicine, or we did the spine, orthopedic, reconstruction and trauma, and then there was biologics in it as well.
Week. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends what you're interested in. If you don't know what you're interested in, hey, just
pick one.
Pick one, try one out, and then if none of that interests you still, I mean, at least you're doing something to get yourself out there and get yourself kind of pushed into the industry a bit.
Learning more, growing more, and just understanding more of what the industry has to offer in some capacities. I don't work in anything that we trained in, actually. I'm in robotics. You never know what doors are going to open for you.
Very true.
And what industry or specialty you're going to want to jump into. So it's just dip your toes in and kind of that introduction. And I loved our program. Do you want to talk more about walk them through what that looked like?
Yeah. So I think it was the first 3 or 4 weeks, or maybe the first month was online.
2 weeks.
Oh yeah, maybe just first 2 weeks. That was a while ago, y'all. My memory is
it was a 12-week program.
Yeah.
9 weeks in person. So I think first 2 weeks online.
And then we had 1 week in the middle that was online. So that was online. First week was getting to know each other a little bit on Zoom. And then we started doing like terminology and everything. And I thought that it was really good and helpful for especially people that don't have a background in like biomedical sciences or any type of biology or didn't major in that. Like, for instance, like we're different. Like I got a degree in biomedical sciences, but you were a business major. And so like a lot of that was like firsthand, like you were just learning it.
And there was somebody fresh out of the military in our class.
Yes. So it's really like anybody can do it if you really want to like get into this industry and you want to go to MSc and try and learn things like that. I think it's a good program.
And to backtrack, I mean, Med Device always does want to see, oftentimes, I won't say always, they want to see, a 4-year college degree, but that's not always the case. And I think MSc is a great bridge for that. Like the guy who was in our class, who he went into the military. Now he did graduate from college, I think. So did he? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Anyways, we'll have to
Good
ask
old
him.
Saint.
Saint Schwang. Anyways,
Schwang.
so yeah, it's an opportunity for if you don't have as much experience in this industry to really build some of that experience. And what that kind of looks like is you call, you apply, and then there's actually an interview process to get into the school. What is it, 2?
Yeah, I think it was 2 interviews. Which, I mean, they just ask you, do you remember the interview questions? They asked like
No.
why I wanted to get into it, what I guess wanted to do with it. I don't but
not near as grueling as like the interview process to get into the industry.
Job. Yeah.
Just like personality. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
trying to see if you would be a good fit, I guess. So anyway, in the beginning, it was anatomy, physiology, medical terminology, things like that. And then
knee week. That was so fun.
Oh, yeah. So then we went straight into orthopedics. And we had like a knee week.
Then
a hip week. And then trauma.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I think after that, we went into biologics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Chelsea. And then we did spine. Because spine was like what we finished.
4 weeks.
Yeah, spine was 4 weeks long, which was really interesting. And so was biologics as well.
Yeah.
The ortho, I mean, it was interesting. I mean, it's all interesting because you don't know. Like, it's all, even if you're a biology, chemistry, like background, it's still like, I mean, this is a whole new world. Like, you don't learn about this in college. This is like implants and like total knee replacements, hip replacements, like repairing a fracture with a lag screw. Like some people, that's foreign language right there.
Yeah, understanding how to identify fracture patterns.
Right.
I mean, it's
identifying x-rays.
You don't learn that in A&P or anything else.
You don't. So you may learn like the types of fractures, but it's just different. So anyway, so that was kind of like week to week to week, and then like on like a daily basis.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
What that kind of looked like is you'd go in, of course, your very first week in person test, 8 a.m. baby, Mondays.
Yeah.
Test,
and you need to be there like at least 30 minutes early every single morning. To order
your Chick-fil-A breakfast.
Yeah, that's what we did. But just want to throw that out there because they're kind of testing you. Like, are you going to show up on time for your job?
Which means early.
Exactly. Yeah. So go on.
So we'd come in, take our test it was just an online exam, anywhere from like 40, 50 questions? I can't remember.
Something like that.
And then really cool, kick it off. We're all competitive in this industry. Let's post your grades on the board. We're going to rank you. So yeah, just kind of, it gets everybody jived up and ready to go. And then also our class, I don't know, we had the most encouraging class. Everybody just worked as a team, wanted to help everybody out, study. It was awesome. So after that, you would learn whatever procedure your next week looked like. So you kind of deep dived into the anatomy, all the procedural steps, and then started to walk through like different companies and the implants and options that they have for that specific procedure. So, jumped in, did knee week, and then let's see, after, sorry guys, it's been a minute. So it was procedure. And
then we would do, we had like the peer-reviewed journals.
Oh yeah, those
that we had to read, and then we had to do presentations on, and then we had product presentations.
Yes.
So that was fun because we got to basically, based on like what we were learning about that week, we could go on and pick like any product within that realm, and then we had to do a presentation on it. But we always got to do it with a partner. So like Sarah and I just kind of like partnered up, like right in the beginning, and we worked together. I think on every single presentation.
Unless we got assigned a couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks, and we both were looking at each other like,
What's happening?
No, I'm kidding. We loved everybody in our class,
Yeah.
but it was just like we got used to like collaborating with
Yeah.
each other. But I don't know. We were always just so goofy every time we presented. It was just like
Yeah.
weird. We were both shy, which we're so not anymore. But it was just it's kind of cool to see how much we've come out of our shells, because
Yeah.
it was like we were shy at first.
I still feel like I'm always shy at first.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then here I am.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, so we had presentations, and then I think we had a test at the end of the week. Either a test or you had a procedure.
Well, you prepped for your oral exam. So on Fridays, we had lab and you had an oral exam, which was you being able to recite the procedural steps.
And put the instruments in order.
And yes.
Yeah.
For the case. Like be able to walk like you're walking a surgeon through using that instrument. They've never used it before and what that like has to look like.
How to put it together.
And then lab day was one of my favorites though, because we got to do the procedure do the procedure on sawbones. So yeah, it was really fun. Like you just feel like a surgeon.
Yeah.
But
those were funny. And it's so cute. We always took like little pictures of us doing our sawbones, and we're like on LinkedIn, like da, da, da. That's an important thing though too, like posting while you're in MSc on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But we
Put
have
yourself
another
out there.
Yeah, we have another episode about that. But
so
anyway.
you'd have lab, and then I'm trying to think. I mean,
oh, okay. So then we also had like homework things. Like we had to go on and like make surgeon profiles. So they kind of taught us how to like profile your surgeons, and that's
it's a nice way to say stalking. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, kind of in a way.
Getting to know who you're calling on or who you want to work with, or
getting to know who's in your market, and figuring out as much as you can, kind of doing some discovery on them. So that was really fun and interesting too. And we had to do there's a big thing in like this implant world and everything about products, and it's at least for MSc, features, benefits and values. I will never forget that. And we had to go through and do that on
baby.
Every product. And like seriously, I still use that to this day because it really does help, because you always have to like see how like, what you're using feature provides value, or it's pointless. Like they're not going to use it if you can't tell them why it provides value. They're So I still use that every day. I don't know about you, but but let's kind of get into like some of the more fun about MSc. Like for instance, you mentioned Chick-fil-A earlier, or we always got to leave for like an hour for lunch. So sometimes we'd bring lunch, or we'd all go out to eat lunch together. Sushi. Oh yeah. Sarah and I, sushi dates. That's still an ongoing thing. We just did that when?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? Yeah. Sushi dates. And then, okay, we need to talk about the time we were close to graduation.
I don't know what you're about to say. So
no, nothing bad. Nothing bad. But it was close to graduation time, and we both were like, okay, we both were super busy, like we talked about in episode 1. And we both didn't really have like our business attire yet. So we convinced Kruse to give us like an hour and a half lunch
instead of 45 minutes, an hour?
Yeah.
We're like, because we had nothing to wear.
We were like, Kruse, we need an hour and a half lunch, please let us go. So we went to the mall over by MSc on our lunch, and we literally like both got in the dressing room, and we were like going back and forth showing each other. It was fun.
And expensive.
That was very expensive. I don't recommend spending the kind of money we did while you're at MSc, but
no,
anyway.
We're already broke.
Yeah.
My husband was like, this is for the birds. But I loved, what was your favorite week though?
Do you
like was biologics your favorite? Spine?
Probably spine. Just like that was kind of what I was looking forward to going into MSc anyway. Which is ironic because now I work in spine. Yeah. So there you go. But what about you?
Yeah, probably spine. I really enjoyed spine.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is weird. I don't work in any of these.
But did you ever even want to work for a spine company after? I can't remember.
Yeah, was interested in it, although when I thought about like what my future looked like and wanting to stay like geographically in Abilene, I don't like that's kind of this is like a hard market for that.
Yeah.
So and actually one of the reps who's here, he was a really awesome mentor for me, and he kind of dominates the spine world here.
Yeah.
So it's really successful. But I was really glad to learn and grow because, you know, if there would have been an opportunity available with him, then, but yeah, I really enjoyed spine. Now I adore what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my favorite job in the world. Like, I think it's the best thing ever. But I also really loved sales week. So after spine, then you go into, what was it, 2 weeks of sales?
I think so, but remember I missed like 2 days because I was gone. I was interviewing.
Oh yeah. Don't recommend that though, actually.
Yeah.
She had an awesome opportunity. So honestly, you start building your resume and can start grinding the second you get into MSc, meaning if you want to be balls to the wall and start applying for jobs, even though you're still learning, I don't know how to interview because the interview process in med device is so grueling.
It is. Months long.
Multiple interviews long. And so, yeah, it's like when Haley was like, oh yeah, I've got this. I'm like, you got this. Go get him, Tiger. But like, could not be me.
Well, in my head, I was like, well, okay, I came here to get a job. So
yeah, 100%.
The second that I start learning stuff and I know a little bit about what I'm talking about.
I don't even think we were into biologics though. Like, I think it was trauma week.
Yeah, but I'm just like hitting everybody up on LinkedIn. I'm like, hey, I see you have this opening. Like, I'm super interested. I'm, new, whatever.
I'll move anywhere.
They don't really recommend that you do that. And like, there are certain reasons why, because in sales week, they help you learn how to like sell yourself better. Yeah. Cause that is like kind of a learned skill. So I get that, but I just, I did what I did and I didn't end up taking that job anyway, but I kind of missed out on 2 like important days in sales week. Yeah. That like, cause I could have been there for. So yeah, but
I loved sales week. It kind of just really got me fired up on how to approach this process, and also the professor loved Scott Bender. Just the energy and fire he brought to the room. It was awesome. And like Haley said, they really teach you how to network really well, really build up. You spend a day kind of like going through your LinkedIn. Too. Oh yeah, we go through and build our resumes. Like they look everything over, and then oh my gosh, that was the worst. And this is so ironic.
What?
We're now on a podcast being videoed, and we were so choked to do the 0 fee recruiting video.
Yeah,
I think
so. So at the end of MSc, it was on graduation day, right? Yeah.
No, like
a day or two before. They make like a 1 minute long presentation for you, but you have to like speak, and so you're like kind of trying to like
pitch yourself in 45 seconds.
Yeah, and then they put it out on this thing called 0 fee recruiting. I don't know if that's what they still use, but that's what it was when we were there. And so your video goes out to all of these hiring managers, basically. Like they can just go and click on your little profile and there you are.
You.
And we were so nervous about that.
Yeah. And now here we are.
Pit sweating, like we're just sitting there looking at each other, like holding our scripts up for each other.
Like mouthing each other's words. And no, we don't have a teleprompter in this setting. So yeah, it's just crazy. Like look at us. Look at now. Like, I don't know.
So
you
much easier.
psych yourself out like in that process. And I remember coming out of the interview process, like if something personal like came up, like my kid got sick, but I had a scheduled call. I mean, I put everything on hold, and you just realize like everybody in this industry, we're human.
Mhm.
Everybody's human. Everybody has lives. And like, I mean, totally put your best foot forward and like grind, but also relax a little bit because you're going to make it and it's going to come with time, you
But
know?
it also comes back to, you sent me this video on Instagram the other day. I think it was like the most recent thing you sent to me. And it like really stuck out to me because it was like, this girl was talking about being uncomfortable, like anytime, or being scared. She was
Mhm.
like, anytime you're scared,
Means you're growing.
she's like, take it as like a blessing, like a thank you for making me, like showing me what I can achieve. Like
Yeah.
that 100%. I was
Yeah.
uncomfortable in MSC. I didn't know these people. Our class was small too. It was
Oh, yeah,
awkward at
10
times.
people.
Like 10 people.
I didn't think it was awkward. I thought it was great.
I thought it was funny. Okay,
It's
wait.
the best. What?
I just remembered because you said swing earlier.
Saint Schwang.
So we all had our own little walk-up songs, right? That's where we got that from. Because when Chris was teaching us, he wanted us to have walk-up songs for something, for our presentation.
Oh,
yeah. What was yours?
I think Congratulations by Post Malone.
Oh,
I don't know. We'd have to. I don't know. Is that it? Is that
what
right?
was mine?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I just remember the swing.
That's
and
funny.
then
I forgot about that.
and then
I think that was mine. I don't know. Honestly, that could have been
yeah.
out there, guess. Our class was low key. Everybody got along. It was great.
Yeah.
Our professors were rock stars. I mean,
so that part of it was fun. But yeah, we would go like after class some days and we'd
Have
go
dinner.
Yeah, have dinner, hang out with each other.
study.
And then even like after we graduated, a few of us, like we just went out together in Dallas and that was like so fun. We were all broke, so we're just like, let's just all go in like halvesies on a hotel room and just like stay the night out here because everybody was from different parts of town.
Yeah.
So and that was awesome. That was
fun.
so fun.
Yeah.
Everybody
had different places too. Like some people, especially if you have to like, if you're not like Haley and you can drive home at night. So we got an Airbnb for 3 months, which talking to one of my like Canyon, I remember him telling me, because we were talking about, so like how much is your hotel a night? He was paying more for a hotel room, like a 1-room efficiency,
Really?
than we were paying for the entire 3 months. Which I know we
For
got a
a
good deal.
house.
But for a house, a 3-bedroom house. That like nice house in McKinney, had like gorgeous backpack. Anyways,
Yeah.
Lisa was the best Airbnb host I've ever
Yeah.
had. She was awesome. But yeah, so if you do go to MSC, weigh your options. Don't stay in a hotel room. Look around because that would suck. Yeah, I would have lost my mind if it was like my dad, my baby, me,
Yeah.
1 room.
You also needed a house because you had like a whole family, but I
Yeah,
don't
we
know that I
moved.
would want to stay in a hotel for 3 whole months either.
And it's expensive.
Yeah.
And then some people, they like Airbnb at apartments because yours was Shauna's.
Shauna's
Shauna had a
was.
nice Airbnb
Yeah,
apartment.
she did.
So you never know. You never know what you can find. So
yeah. I
look
was just
around
at
and
home with
shop.
the rents, so but
It's okay. That was
love them.
cheapest.
It was a blessing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So okay, talk about life after
MSC.
Oh, I will never forget this. Scott Bender called us. Like he goes, "You come stand right here. You come stand right here. You." And he like lined us up and he goes, "You're gonna get a job in 30 days, and you're gonna have a great experience. It's gonna take you maybe about 90 days." And then remember, he goes, "But you." And he
To
looked at
me?
me. No, to
Who
me.
do you?
He's like, "But you." He's like, "You don't want to move." He's like, "You're gonna have to work, girlfriend. Like it may take you 9 months." Boy, were you not joking.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of like your experience post MSC was very different than mine.
Yeah.
You kind of jumped into a job fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Talk about that. I
But
can talk about mine.
let's touch on that for just a minute so that people understand a little bit like why it was so different. Because like I had people ask me like when I would talk to them about you, they're like, "Well, why hasn't she gotten a job?" And I'm like, I was like, it's nothing to do with Sarah. I said, she's incredible. Like, she 100% can get something in this industry,
won't
no
move.
doubt. But when you're in a small market like
Mhm.
Abilene, there's very limited opportunity.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're in Dallas or I don't know, Austin, Houston, San Antonio, or any major city,
Yeah.
there's so much more opportunity
Yeah.
available to you. So
Or if
like,
you're willing to relocate
Yeah,
anywhere,
yeah,
I
if you're
mean,
willing-
then
yeah.
like your options are
Yeah.
endless.
but your family
you know?
was here, and so
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see, how long did it take me? Because we graduated in June, and I started my first job in September.
Was it really that long?
But I had interviewed with a lot of people in between. Like I that's like what we were saying. Like the process is months long, and like I think what 4 or 5 different companies I had interviewed with in between, and then when it came down to it, I was between 2 different companies.
Yeah.
And I had to weigh the options and kind of go with what I felt was my best option.
Yeah.
So I started that job.
Because you had 2 offers basically on the table at the same time.
I did.
Yeah.
Right. And I was just trying to figure out like,
Which
and
one?
I mean, in that moment, it takes a little bit to figure out what you feel like your niche is in this
Mhm.
industry. And in that moment, I was like, well, I don't know. Honestly, a little part of me is like, what pays more? I mean,
Yeah.
just saying, I'm not a stupid young adult. You know,
Yeah.
I'm trying to make a right financial decision too.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But
also, what are you going to enjoy the most?
Exactly. But I
Yeah.
didn't really know.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know because both of them interested me.
And that was so hard, like that, the whole, like, when you're trying to get into a job, you should always take any opportunity to interview.
Mhm.
I mean, any opportunity to interview, but that can become challenging if you have multiple companies you're trying to interview with at the same time. You want to always be prepared and prep for your interviews. And then like you're pitching this company on why this company, like why me? I mean, why do you want this job as
Right.
opposed to the next job? So it gets hard to juggle a little bit. But yeah, I mean, MSC does a really good job at preparing you for how to prepare for that.
Yeah,
if
they
that
teach
makes
you how to
sense.
do like
Yeah.
presentations for your interviews and everything.
Mhm.
It's killer. So
What was it called? Lord, I'm drawing a blank. A business, like you.
a business plan.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Business plan. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I liked that aspect, but I did that job for about 8 months. Yeah, about 8
Mhm.
months, and then I just had a better opportunity come my way, and now
And the
I'm
first job was in, remind me.
ortho.
Yeah, that's right. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I was in
sports one.
ortho, and then I kind of I learned a lot from that job,
Mhm.
and I kind of wanted to be in spine, but spine's like a harder part of like that realm of the industry to get
Yeah.
into. And so I was just like, well, I don't know. And then I kind of had an opportunity come my way, and I just
Couldn't turn it down.
couldn't turn it down. And then I've been there since. So.
Yeah.
But go into your story because it's much more interesting than mine.
It's a lot. So, like I kind of mentioned on our first episode, came back. It's a humbling experience to come back and still continue to do what you've been doing all throughout college, right? Like you're excited for that next step. But yeah, I took every opportunity. I had amazing experiences. I had rough experiences.
Wait, let me just tell y'all one thing. This girl worked her freaking ass off
Oh, thank you.
to be in this industry. And I just have to say that because I'm so proud of her.
Thank you.
But
appreciate
anyways.
that. I appreciate that. Not everybody in this industry is nice. So just
True.
that is something that I think we learned. You know, you learn it the hard way. But again, it's a really eat what you kill competitive industry. And
it's also it's hard to know who to trust too, I'll be honest.
Yes.
Like it's
because are you gonna kind
of
step on their toes or their shoes and like infringe on their business, or like, are you a potential threat or competition that they don't want to deal with? I mean, it can be hard.
And you think the industry is so big, but it's small and everybody talks.
Yes.
And we've both had to learn lessons in that aspect. And it's hard to know in the beginning because you think you're just networking and like talking to people.
It can be the greatest thing and the worst thing at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think that's partially why, like, I love this. I love this platform and this opportunity to. I'm not a mean rep. Haley's not a mean rep. Ask us anything. You can reach out, like, talk to us. Like, we think that there are so many people, just like there are probably a million different singers out in the world that, aren't famous. Like, and nobody knows that they're the best singer in the world. Like, there are probably a million people that they don't know how to start. They don't have, they just don't know even much about it. And they have questions. Like, ask. Please ask. We love to talk about what we do, but let me not get distracted. And so I networked. I probably shadowed about 6+ surgeons here in town. If any of you are watching, thank you so much for the opportunity to learn and grow with you. And it was just my favorite thing. Honestly, like, it gives you time to just, like, to learn.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds silly, but it gives you time to learn and really, as Haley was mentioning, like, figure out kind of what you love and your why. So that is one question you're going to get asked in the interview process. Every company wants to know your why. And I remember I was in a procedure with Dr. her rep, and they are just like the best team. And is a podiatrist here. Pardon me. She, this patient had a really hard condition called Charcot, and which is basically like brittle bone syndrome. So like, and I'm not a doctor, and so I may not be speaking perfectly to this, but this patient's bones were so brittle that it would just collapse. And the load bearing weight couldn't handle it. Her bones couldn't handle it. And this condition apparently normally starts kind of in your feet and your legs, works its way to its arms. But this patient, she'd already had prior surgery, and we were standing in that case, and rep brought all the equipment that she needed, and the patient, or after the patient had gone to sleep before started, I'll never forget, it was like one of those Grey's Anatomy moments that was like, wow. She said, this woman is a fighter. She is a young mom. She has a child, and by the time this child graduates high school, she is probably going to be wheelchair bound.
Wow.
And she said, but right now she's here to fight, and we're going to fight with her. Today we're going to rebuild her feet, and we're going to give her as much time to run with her little girl as she can. And it's those moments and that you get to impact, those moments that you get to be a part of, even though her rep, he's not hands on that patient.
Right.
He brings so much value to the team. It's a team effort. It will always be a team effort. But I mean, what he brings to the table plays a small part in impacting that patient's life, you know? And so that was oh my gosh, I left in tears, just gosh, I cannot wait for
an
my
opportunity.
turn. And because this is what I'm made for. I mean, I love everything about this industry. But also my why, my family, my kiddo, they are the reason I want to get up and work hard every day. And I want to, make an impact. I want to make them proud. I want to provide a good life for my family and have stability. And, so always be ready for that question.
Yeah. But so I want to talk about that because that question has always been a little bit more difficult for me. And I think part of it is because like I don't have a family yet. So
Mhm.
I've always had to like gear mine towards like my goals of like a
Yeah,
future family
personal.
or getting myself to where I could, you know, be there one day. But like
Mhm.
I feel like in a way, like any advice for people that are trying to get in and trying to answer that question and they're, you know, a young, at the time, single adult, it's like advice for them, helping them kind of pick and dig out their why from within. Like
Mhm.
I found that within, you know, my interview processes, and
Mhm.
it really is like I've always wanted to be a mother. I've always
Mhm.
wanted to like one of my main goals is like I want to be financially stable too
Mhm.
before I have children. And like I'm not married yet, but when I am, like that's still a goal.
Mhm.
And then also, like you said, impacting patients' lives. I've known since I was a little girl, I wanted to be in medical.
Mhm.
So like, but it's kind of hard to like come to that realization, like to
Mhm.
really pull it out of
Yeah.
from, I don't know,
Like
within.
explain it well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
explain your why. So like any advice on that for people trying to get in?
Oh my gosh.
I
It's
mean,
just,
you had
I
an
think it
aha
comes with
moment
time.
kind of, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think it comes with time. And don't be afraid to just like, if you can't answer that question like exactly, then, you know, don't be afraid to be like, you know what? I can't really
Articulate this well right
articulate
now.
it,
Yeah.
but I can tell you my goals and why I
Mhm.
want to be here.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. Absolutely.
But anyway, so you were trying to get a job
Yes,
for a
you
long
learn
time.
so much about yourself interviewing.
You do.
I interviewed a lot. And you know, you get told no a lot, which now no is like one of my favorite words.
Yeah.
My dad would tell you it's been my favorite word my whole life. And I'm like, you just don't realize that you've groomed me to work in this industry. Like you have groomed me to work in sales.
Yeah.
Like that's, we hear a lot of no's.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, I will never forget, I went to one of my mentors who's a very seasoned, such a well-respected rep here in town. My gosh, bless his heart. Like he is the type of he is the type of rep that I strive to be like. He just, any opportunity he, you know, could help me or give me to put in the work, but to you know, continue to further and get into this industry, he tried to help with. And so I had an interview and I drove all the way to Dallas for it. It was my first 3-panel interview. Tanked it. Oh my gosh. I was, not that I wasn't prepared, but like I think I'm getting more comfortable, but
Yeah.
Interviews,
It's still hard.
it's
Yeah.
hard. Like I'm like, hi.
Yeah.
You know? And that's hard. Like it's hard to showcase your personality in an interview,
It is.
especially when you don't have any relationship with those people before.
Look, it's an hour of talking with, I mean,
or more. Yeah. And
yeah.
just like, well, and then to walk into a 3-panel interview. So you
Oh,
are,
yeah.
you walk into like this boardroom
Boom,
in a
boom,
hotel
boom.
and it's like everybody's dressed to the nines. And like these are reps, managers who have been in this industry for 20 years.
Yeah.
And they're ready. Like they have a line of questioning a mile long that they're about to fire at you.
Yep.
And you better be ready.
Yep.
And I was not ready. I think not. When you're interviewing with so many companies, like it's hard to be so prepared for one. But then also like that comes with time, right? Like you learn more about that company with time and if you're working for them, you know? And so, yeah, but
and a lot of
my personality did not shine.
Yeah. And a lot of their processes too, like look different. And so it's like, you don't really know what to expect walking into it. Like, I don't know. People can try and like tell you ways to prepare and everything, but you really don't know what it's going to look like till you walk in.
No. Yeah.
So like, wow.
Yeah. And it's okay though, because you want to know
Mhm.
something. I learned so much about myself in that interview. And I think ABC, always be closing. Like we talk about this all the time in the industry. I may not have done well in that interview, but the follow up, right? And like the follow up, the confidence of be humble, be honest. I know I sucked at this. I know this was awful, but I literally told that manager, I was like, "You're gonna hear from me again." I said, "I'm not done. I'm sorry. Like, I am sorry." And I promise you, I cried all the way home, that 2.5 hour drive on the phone with Haley. Like, just, what is wrong? You know, like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
So mad at myself. But like, ready to take on the next one and do better because I learned so much from that, right?
I remember that.
Yeah, that was rough,
Yeah.
right? But I don't know. And to this day, like my first job, I texted that manager and I let her know. I texted her. It was maybe 6 months after I interviewed with her. And I texted her and I told her, "This is what I'm doing. I'm still like, that didn't break me. I want you to know, like, this is the type of person I am. And I'm going to be successful here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to figure it out. And I want this so bad and nothing's going to stop me." And so I think too, like that, always follow up, always, even if it was your worst performance in the world,
Yeah.
have the confidence, have the boldness to do something that maybe they see or they don't see very often. Like that you can own it and move on from it, do better, grow from it. Like,
Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes, you know, in this industry for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, so multiple failed attempts. And then I took a job that was really different, back end of med device, still medical device sales, but was more in like medical, like technology, like the development of medical technology. So I more so was in conversations with engineers every day, which was a huge learning curve for me.
But also I think that was such good exposure for you.
100%.
Because you got to learn a side of the industry that like
A lot of people don't.
a lot of people don't and won't ever learn.
Like
you
the
know?
machining of medical equipment.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Just a deeper appreciation. I have such a deeper appreciation for the development of medical technology, the time it takes, and all of the moving parts that go into that. It's so cool. And I honestly geeked out on it for the first, I think my first dinner with engineers, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, this is
yeah, you're like,
I know nothing. Like, I know nothing about what they're talking about. But I'm like, I'm going to learn. And eventually you do, and you figure it out. But I loved it. Like, I loved that first opportunity and job. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, my heart is still patient impact, patient advocacy, and that one-on-one opportunity in the OR. And so, I don't know. I love that job. I think I grew a lot, but my heart was back in the OR. And so when that opportunity came available, I jumped.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I'm so proud of you. But
Thank you.
That's one thing I wanted to touch on real quick is like, you know, you saying you're working on the engineering side of things. It's like, you feel like you're not touching a patient's life, but you still are, just like way far on the back end. But that's one thing I want to say is like, even being in the OR and everything, it's almost kind of a thankless job because we don't interact with the patients. Like, we never get to see really, you know,
until it's somebody you know.
Yeah. Or, you know, unless the doc, I don't know. I mean, if they tell you a little bit about the background or what's going on, you know, but you never get to see that patient after they leave the OR. You don't see them before. And so, like, you kind of just walk around every day just knowing, like, I am impacting their life somehow. Don't really know the outcome, but
just a small part of a big team.
Exactly. Yeah. But I love that part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a good, like, do you have any other closing remarks for this episode? I feel like that's a good way to kind of wrap it up. So
Stay tuned.
Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you like this, please subscribe and keep listening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, who this? I'ma pull up in a brand new day. With this, go hard out, dollar do pay. Hey.